Welcome to Systemology. I think the question you might be asking yourself is, how did you end up here? I know sometimes in business, it just feels like you got your head down and you're focusing on whatever the next step is and what will get you sort of moving and getting some momentum. And it's not until you kind of stop, look up and look back and look where you've come to realise how far you've actually gone while you've just been so focused. For me, I asked that question when I was standing in front of this room you'll see on the screen just there, and I asked myself, how did I get here? That day, I was facilitating a mastermind to lead sort of the future direction of Michael Gerber's business. For those of you who don't know, he wrote a book called The E-Myth. The Wall Street Journal said that it was the #1 best-selling business book of all time, and Inc. magazine calls him, the world's #1 small business guru. And here I was facilitating this room because he's kind of moving into the final stages of his business career, thinking about, well, what happens next? How does this continue on beyond me? Now, probably what makes this most interesting is 3 months earlier, I'd never even spoken to Michael. Like, I'd not met him before, but within 3 short months, I managed to get over to the States, be in La Jolla, and then leading this particular mastermind for him. And if I kind of take you back about, well, how did that happen? What was the sequence of events that led me to that moment? It started off with an email. I got an email late one night. I didn't spot it until the morning, and it was from a lady called Luz Delia Gerber. Now, I wasn't familiar with Luz Delia's name, but I knew the surname, and I also knew the domain name, Michael E. Gerber Companies. So I said, oh, this is interesting. I called them first thing. I knew it was in the States. They're on the West Coast, so early my morning, it was about 7 a.m, was their afternoon. So I just hopped on the phone and called them. Now, one thing that you'll learn about the Gerbers, because they'll come up a few times today, is they love to record everything. Every phone call, you're hopping on a conference call to record it. So with their permission, I've got the recording from the very first phone call that I had with them. And I'll play just the first couple of minutes of that. So I'd not chatted with them before. I just got an email out of the blue, and 7 in the morning, I picked up the phone, and then I called, and this is what happened.
Morning.
Good morning. This is David Jenyns just calling up from Australia. I'm actually after Luz, I think it is.
Oh my God, is this the real David?
Yeah, this is the real David. How are you?
Oh, I am. I just want to cry. Just hold on 1 second. Oh my God. You have no idea. You picking up the phone and calling me is doing to life, to yours and mine.
Oh, that's
like none.
That's a good thing. I know your message came through late last night. I don't know if you know, but we're based in Australia, so that's why.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. So.
I just finished watching your video.
Oh, fantastic!
One of them, and I was just now looking for it because I wanted to send it to my husband because I've been in a journey this morning since 4:35 my time. I've been in warp time. I mean, I'll tell you how I met you and how I found you, but it's all spiritual. It's all a journey. I'm on the path. And I just knew that I had to talk to you, like now. I just had to have a conversation with you.
Well, good
and
morning.
Then I did my writing and did everything else, and I just dared to say, call me now. I'll go to wherever you are. Come here. I have to talk to you. I need you. I have to talk to you. So, thank you. I'm just trying to get over the shock.
I was getting over the shock too.
What a great way to start my day. How can I help?
Do you know Michael Gerber? Do you know the name? Do you know his work?
Yeah, I definitely know him and have read the E-Myth Revisited and E-Myth, and yeah, I'm a long time systems advocate.
The call went on for quite some time, and I won't play the whole call. It was a very long call. But the story that I sort of came to learn was Michael had just turned 80, and he was working on the final book in his E-Myth series called Beyond the E-Myth. And all of the previous books had gone through a publisher, HarperCollins, but for the first time, they wanted to self-publish their book, so that way they'd maintain full control and rights and things like that. So Luz Delia had somehow come across a book launch that I'd run. I just launched my first book, Authority Content, and I had a process that I went through, releasing some content, sharing it around the web, and sort of leading up for quite a large launch, and we ended up having it being a #1 bestseller on the first day that it launched, just by building up some excitement. And she said, "I'd love you to do this for my husband." And I said, "I'd love to, yes, that sounds awesome." Now, they didn't know anything about my background, anything about my past. They didn't know what I was doing with System Hub or Systemology or anything like that. They approached me for something completely unrelated. And I worked with them over a period of 3 months. I developed a roadmap. You can kind of see it on the screen there. And it was almost like a waterfall of when things were going to happen. And literally after thousands of emails, hundreds of calls, and it was very much a pressure cooker, like 3 months to launch a book. Mine, without that sort of momentum, took me a good 6 months. And I was given 3 months to do Michael's. It was amazing how quickly his name would open doors. I lined up loads of podcast interviews with him. I'd just say Michael Gerber and people would almost fall over themselves to get him on their podcast. Towards the end of the promotion, a few friends and I, we flew over to the States because I called in some favours to get some help launching the book. I had Mike Rhodes, who helped me with the SEM side of things. I had Nick, who helped me with the quiz. I had another guy, Troy Dean. He wasn't in the photo, so we just added him there. The final phase was we flew over to the States, rented out on Airbnb one of those magnificent houses hanging off one of the rocks in La Jolla in California. And we spent the week with Michael, launched the book, and then attended his dreaming room. Now, this is kind of the conclusion of that journey, and this is what Luz Delia and Michael had to say about it.
He's responsible for the book launch. Tremendous success. Number 29 book of Michael, his 29th book, and the first one that became
an Amazon bestseller in about 24 hours.
And we have spoken every single day. He has kept me online. He's been telling me what to do. I require all of you to become David. Thank you.
And Dave comes from Melbourne, Australia. And he's flown from Melbourne to be here with us. And he's made the commitment out of the blue. Of course, Luz Delia gave him the company, I think. Yeah, I think that's what she did. But apart from that, Dave just stepped up and did it. And I just want to give Dave my deepest thanks, as I've done persistently throughout the process.
I mean, the launch was great. We hit all of the targets that we're going for the book launch. But the whole process, because I focused on this exclusively, it just so happened timing-wise, I'd just completed Systemizing the business. I'd hired the CEO, and it was almost like the universe saying, great, here is the test, here is the opportunity now. Step back, work on this exclusively for 3 months and let Melissa run the company. So the timing couldn't have been better. Towards the end, because they're kind of thinking about the future direction, that's when Luz Delia asked me, would you like to run the company, Michael Gerber eCompanies, after that? Now for me, I'm very clear on what my vision is and what I'm here to do, and the timing wasn't right. But the question that I want you to ask yourself is, how do you go from zero to hero in the space of that 3 months? How can you have extraordinary things fall into your lap and be able to take advantage of those opportunities? Like I said, they had no idea what it was that I was working on, and I couldn't have planned it better even if I sat down and thought it out. It was just completely coincidental, step by step, and then for me, that was very much a turning point. And the takeaway here is things aren't linear, which is strange when you come to a systems event. People are expecting to hear, what's step 1? What's step 2? What's step 3? How can I get to this perfect business systematically, step by step? When life is not linear. Life does not work that way. Things can just pop up and opportunities will fall into your lap. The way that you spot opportunities and can take advantage of them is to have enough space. So what I see systems do is they give you space to be able to see the opportunities. Chances are opportunities are falling in your lap every week, but you're just not aware of them because you're so focused on the business and you're working on the tools that even if Michael Gerber picked up the phone and called you personally and said, hey, come over to the States, you'd go, I couldn't, my business would implode. So what I see systems, what they allow you to do is they give you the space to be able to take advantage of opportunity. And that's really what we're going to focus on today. How do we create that space for you? How do we remove the noise that's going on so that when things do fall into your lap, those unintended fortuitous events, that you can fully maximise them?